Welcome back. We're kind of on a series of low-profile flies, and we're going to do the laser legal. This isn't a really well-known fly yet. It's an offshoot of the barely legal, which is on the Madison and a lot of rivers. I know on the White they call it their savior. The barely legal and the regular conehead, just the first one. On this river, for sure, for us, it's our number one fly for numbers of fish. Not necessarily the biggest fish, but man, it's a confidence builder. And when I started fishing that fly, I mean, it's so good, and I really didn't have a reason to try to change it, but I wanted something a little bit more stickleback, dace-ish, smaller, like juvenile whitefish style fly, something like that. I mean, I wanted something a little finer profile yet than even that one. And so I came up with this fly. It's called the Laser Legal. And because I use Senyo's laser dub in it for the back. And so this one's a little sparse. I'm going to show you. We're going to do one here that in a second that's a little, just slightly heavier than this one. But I'm going to go through what I'm going to use first, as always. The hooks, it's a B10S number 6 up front. It's got a 3/16 black tungsten plummeted, or just a black tungsten countersunk, excuse me. And the back hook is a 2460 number 4. I think I've seen a couple commercial patterns this where they use longer hooks in the front. I don't like that. I like that short, that little B10S. I really think that makes a difference in the way this thing floats and fishes. I do a lot of jigging with this. So as a lot of times I say, you got a lot of freedom on your hooks. And on this one, I really like the B10S length and shape of the hook, and so on the front hook. And so the body is pearl ice dub. The tail, the under, it has, this is a stacked fly. It's stacked bottom, stacked top. It just continues through. You're going to end up with 5 stacks like that. You're going to have just regular old white Marabou on the back, or on the bottom, I mean. The top is going to be, you'll see I've got 5 different, or 4 different colors out here, excuse me. The last stack on the bottom is going to be a white Senyo's laser dub. But on the head, or on the back, excuse me, originally when I first did these, I used the Sculpin Olive laser dub. And somewhere along the line they changed this stuff. It's not the same color. And I'm going to show you, and I just blend my own now. And so that's why I have 3 colors sitting out here. I've got black, olive, and Sculpin Olive. All 3 of them right here, right? And I'm going to show you how I blend mine. Super simple. And the 4th color is lavender. And this is just an accent. Excuse me, it's just an accent. But man, this just makes this fly sing. I love this stuff in this fly. And so it's pretty simple. It's a fast fly. So I'm going to show you 2 things. And since I started playing with Senyo stuff, and I was starting to mix my own, and I started using Mega Seal a little bit. It's Mega Seal's, it's another synthetic semi-seal. It's the Mega Seal is just a longer cut, right? And so this stuff, I take the same thing. I do it with 3 colors, and I end up with I liked this darker back color. And we're going to see, I'm going to achieve the same thing with the other one. But this is just another option. And by the way, you'll see this is, there's a lot of different dubs out now, and people are blending their own. And a lot of them are out of this stuff. It's a lot out of the semi-seal or the Mega Seal. Depending on how long the cut is, it's just different lengths of the stuff. But people seem to, you get kind of hung up on a color, right? And like I was just all over Greg's Sculpin Olive, and it changed, and it's just a different color than it was. It doesn't mean it's better or worse, it's just different. And so I just started making my own, and I'm going to show you how I do mine. And I've simply got 3 colors here. I do the same thing with my dry fly dubbings. And what I've got is I've got the 2 colors. I blend 50-50 olive and Sculpin Olive, and I get really close to what the old one was. These right here. So I got Sculpin, I've got 50-50 there, and then I wanted this just slightly toned I just wanted a little bit darker overall hue to the color, so I take a quarter black. And so these aren't even. I've got the same amount here, and then you'll see I've got about half of what one of those is. And so what I do is it's really simple. You don't, there's boards to do this. They're just pet brushes, and you can comb it through another board, and you can blend them and get them perfect. You can do basically the same thing by just laying these things on top of each other and just pull them through each other like this. You don't have to get it. In some ways, I kind of like the fact that it's not all even. It's not all perfect. Got more Marabou up my face. It's so, if there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that in there, and maybe you got a little bit too much black when you're going along, and you pull it out, you say, oh, that's too much, and you just pull it out and look around. But when you start putting it on, you can still look at it. But I kind of like the fact that sometimes there's a little bit here and a little bit there. It's rather random, and it's not just one color. It's kind of cool when it comes out that it's got a little bit of, and I end up with just, I took a little of the red out of the original Sculpin Olive, put a little bit more olive in it, and I just got a little bit of kicker of black in there, and the black, it's got a hint of that UV blue stuff in it, which UV black, and so it makes it look a little bit blue. But you can see it takes me no time at all, and that'll probably do 2 or 3 of bugs. And so it's really quite simple to do. That's exactly what I did with this. This is just the Mega Seal. Same thing. I end up with these colors that are just, and it's kind of fun. You can make your own, and it's pretty simple. It's, you don't need the boards to do it. You can do it in your hand right there and just be done with it. So, back hook, 2460. What did I do with you? 2460 number 4. And again, this fly is designed to be more, this is a great Eastern fly too, by the way, where you've got the day sticklebacks, the little chub stuff that, a lot of the stuff, you can do it in different colors. You don't have to stick with just the one color. So, I'm going to use, as always, I'm going to use the GSP 100 with almost any of my bugs. So you're going to leave room for your head up there, as always. We're going to take 2 stacks, and just look at your reference. There's your fly close-up. It's got Marabou, and it's got the stuff on top. Then you're going to have your body material, which is going to be laser dub. And I'm going to do it in a dubbing loop. You do not have to do this in a dubbing loop. If you want to twist dub it on real tight, that's fine too. You could even use crystal chenille on this if you wanted to. Use small if you do. Just keep the body thin. This is supposed to be a really thin profile fly. So I'm going to take one good Marabou. I'm going to have it start with a good tail. These are just white Marabou. Same as always. We're going to measure this thing. Air long, if anything, should be the length from the eye to the end of the hook. So we're going to tie that in. Nice and tight. Get that set right on top. I'm going to move forward to the halfway point of this hook. These stacks on the front and back, even on the front is a B10S, which is a short shank hook. We're going to stack them in the center. So dead center. And again, this is a pretty fast fly because you're working with, and if you dub it, it's even quick, not a lot quicker, but a little bit quicker. But you got to get used to this when you put this on. These should be progressively thicker. And this one I don't double over. You'll see I double all the rest of them. You can do this one too if you want to. But you put it in here. We'll just double it so we'll just stay consistent. So you double it over like that. That's your first one. This one, if you do that, I generally don't. When I do that, I just tie it in and I get a nice, just enough like that. I'm gonna go how I normally do it. But you could double it over. The thing about doubling it over, the reason I do that is it's so much more secure. It's not that you can't get the right length and everything by doing it. It's that when you're using these fine dubbings, it doubles it over and it just secures it. None of it's ever going to slip out. And so I tend to just lean towards doubling them all over. So now I'm going to, again, you could, on this particular fly, I don't think it's that big of an advantage to be in a loop, but I'm just kind of like dubbing loops. It may be a slight disadvantage actually to use a loop on this fly because you're going to come and go so many times. You know, you're gonna stack it. It might be just as fast to dub it with the twist dub, just finger dubbing. I just kind of like loops. I want this really tight. I don't want this really, really picky. I want it really tight spun. First one, just like every fly we tie. First one's really tight. Let's go forward. Halfway point. You're done. Now, these stacks, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's critical, but it looks a hell of a lot better if you do it right. Every one of these stacks is designed to be one halfway back the first one you did. So I'm going to set this up on the side so you can see. So each one of these is designed to go halfway down the next one. So they're not all the same length. They go halfway, every one. It's a shingle effect. You're just stacking them one after another. And so set that right on top. Spin your hook upside down if you want. Set them right on top so they split. Don't try to build right into your body, right? Don't try to get right next to this on your stacks. Wait until you start moving, till you get everything on there. Then you can get a little tighter and closer to the end, or closer to the body. Come forward, build your taper. Leave room for your head. Come back. Now I can come in here. I got everything nice and tight where it belongs. And each one of these is supposed to get progressively just slightly bigger. Don't overdress these. One thing if you overdress it is the one thing about synthetic, you can go in and you can trim out your synthetics. So the same thing happens here. And I'm going to tell you, when you tie this, when you fish this fly, first time you see it, the thing that strikes me when I see it is how when you layer this, when it's got the stacks that keep going, when you see this thing wet, it truly looks translucent and it looks like a minnow back. It develops a real translucent, when the water's in it, it gets a very translucent look, but it gets that layered look, so it really looks like it's almost par marks in a way, but not, I don't know how to describe it, but it's, and don't worry about the length right here. I didn't tell you what I just did. So I'm going to take this stuff and I'm going to, you can see it's about the same width as the one on the tail, but I'm going to double this one. So all you're going to do is put the material right on top, fold it over. It's going to, when you bend your thread like this, you'll see it makes a little cup. And you can place that wherever you want, and it'll stay right where you put it because you've shaped it like the thread like this. So you put it on top, and there's your two pieces. Just nice tight pull, and you're golden. Again, we're not looking for a bulky fly here. This is a low profile fly. Oops. More pearl. I've never tried this with a, somebody asked me, maybe it was Jeremy, I don't know, if I ever use a silver on this body. I never have. I've always used pearl on this one. Just put that in there. Okay, so I want this one right next to the first one. I don't want to shift the body in any way. Make sure you get one clean turn right there and cinch that down. Make sure the wing's on top and the marabou's on the bottom. Then just progress forward. Leave yourself room for, you're going to do the same steps. You know, I'm not a big fan of those videos that they go in super high speed, but this is one we're going to do the same thing over and over, so it's one where it probably wouldn't hurt. You'd probably like it.
Then we'd miss all your delightful commentary.
Oh, listen. There's Johnny. So this one's going to, so we're going to do the same thing. Stack this halfway down the other one. Nice and tight. You don't want these things moving around on you. halfway. We're going to take just a little bit. Every time we're just adding just a little bit. And that's a perfect example. I got a little bit more black in that one. I don't try to go in and just suddenly just make it blend into so it doesn't exist. I think it's really cool, and this one comes out, it's just a little thicker than that one. There's a little bit more black in there, that blue-black pearl or UV stuff. I like it. I'm going to leave it right in there. I'm actually going to turn it down so it folds back and it'll be in it. So all I'm going to do, same as before, wrap your thread around it, get it in the halfway point. You can see there's a lot of black showing right there. See that? I like that. When you go in and you try to just blend and get one color, it just kind of, to me, you might as well just go a straight olive if that's what you're going to do. This one's going to give you a nice clean breaks. You know, you can see each one, and you can almost see it even right there. You can see how we're going to trim this last, but you can see how those layers are starting to progress, and you're getting a dark, a light, a dark, a light, dark, a light. And then when it gets wet, you'll actually see these kind of gaps between there. Man, it is a sexy bug. This fly, and for this particular fly, this is a great dry line fly for people that, if you're, especially on foot, it's a minnow fly. It's a good shallow water fly. Where might it go? Good shallow water fly. It's a great jigging fly. I do this with a dry line a lot, and every once in a while I'll fish with Mamie and she kicks my butt, and it's almost always using this fly. I let her. Okay. No bead on this. No need for it. We're not trying to cover anything. We don't have any Flashabou. I'm using 0.38. I also do not run this one through the eye of this hook. I've never had this come off. I don't go, when I run beads, I don't run them through the eye. I don't try to fight this and bring it back and push that one back up. I do push it all the way through, but I don't try to get it. Under the, you can get it through here pretty easy. You can push it back through. Then trying to get it back through the hole of the bead and push it back through is a pain in the butt. I'll show you how I do it. Again, this B10, I love this hook. I very seldom get a fish on the back hook. Almost never do I get one on the back hook. The head, and when they do, that B10S is just incredible. That is one of the sharpest. I mean, that's just a secure hook. I'm going to pull this relatively close on the B10. If you've seen any of my videos, you see I'm always using the hook as part of it's a measuring tool, right? And I like to have my thread hanging straight down at where the barb starts its ascent. So if you're looking at a standard hook where it goes up like that, I like to put my thread always ending there. With a B10S, I have it end at the point of the hook. It's one of the few. On a lot of these short shanks, you see it's got a funky bend to it, not like the rest of them. And I like the stuff to end right at you can see when it's hanging. There's the point of the hook. That's where it hangs. If this was a traditional hook, it would hang back here by the gouge. Gouge is the barb. So now I'm going to make really tight wraps forward. I'm going to cut this. First I'll get Johnny back there, scissors. I'm going to get it so it fits underneath the eye, or underneath the bead, I mean. And so I really reef on this thread. And I'm really pulling on this stuff. And you probably could get away with it just like that. When you put this zap on here, I took a couple of these, and I pulled with I had wire on the front. I had some of the Beeline wire, and I had I don't remember if it was one of these or what I had, but it was like pulling like this as hard as we could, and I couldn't get the thing to break. And so I don't really have any fear of this thing coming out. And once that starts to settle in there, I go back through it again and just double security here. So now we'll go through this whole process again. Now remember, this is a short shank hook. We're going to stack 3. We're going to have one more in here. Where's the original here so you can see it? We're going to have one Marabou at the back, we're going to have one in the middle, and this is where that white laser, the last one's going to be laser done. So I'm going to take this, make sure that you can see where your tie-in is, so you go halfway back the other one. There's no real easy way to get this to go around there, to split them when it's in your vise. Get out of there. Just got to fight that first one. Get it in there so it's split. And now double check, because it's kind of hard to split that first hook. Double check. I'm a little long right now, so I'm going to just pull that in. I'm looking, I want it to be halfway there. So now I'm halfway back the second one, right where I belong. Same thing, build a little bulk with this. Come to the halfway point. It's going to tell you where you're going to stop. Right there. Remember, each one's just slightly bigger than the last one. And you can always go in and pull this stuff. I mean, you can thin it up. Just don't make it too. The last two are pretty much identical size. Fold it around your thread, just like that. Make the little cup shape. Get over there. Make the little cup, come in, cinch it down really tight. This won't take much on this one. Like I said, this is one of the few, if you want to just spin dub this, twist dub it, it really wouldn't matter. I just kind of, it's one of those things, it's a habit you get into. I like the control of the loops. First one, put it in, pull tight, nice and tight. Bingo. I like these last ones to be nice and full, not crazy full, not huge, just a little bit grow, just a little thicker as you go forward. Each one. So if you're comparing your Marabou's, just the last one, because it's laser dub, is even thicker. A little long. And this last one, if you make this one, you can make just slightly longer if you want than your the last one, so it comes back into that cover. You can do whatever you want. It's your fly. Wait a minute, it's my fly. Just keep an eye on it that you're not rolling one way or the other. It's easy to roll towards you. You have you're always looking at this side of the fly, and you tend to roll it towards you from pulling the material. It comes underneath and rolls at you. You can have pretty big gaps on the back. Just like before, we're gonna bend this over the thread and lock it in. Make sure you make that cup. Now we can get in there and really secure that. Looks good. The other thing you want to look for is make sure these don't twist up. It's easy to twist them off to the side. Just make sure it's standing straight up. So one last one here. Now we don't use this last one. We don't use the Marabou. Still use the laser dub, obviously. Take this right to the eye. Don't worry. Rush the eye, or not the eye, to the bead. Take it. We're going to go right up tight, and then we're going to put another stack in. You're going to leave a little bit of room for that, but we're going to go back and make a little tiny collar out of the ice dub. I said that I always use this pearl ice dub, and Johnny corrected me. I use minnow body too. Still ice dub, but it's a different color. You can barely tell the difference. Actually, in the package, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. But So make this, take it right to the eye. There's always room underneath there. You can always, you'll have room to work in front of that, but take it right to it. Don't leave anything showing. Where's that laser? So now we're going to take the laser, and I'm not sure why I put this in the beginning, why I started doing this. It just, I don't know, I got kind of addicted to laser dub for a while. I'm not sure why I took away the Marabou, but I started putting this in. It might have been for that little bit of UV pearl that's in this stuff, that it's just a neat, just a little shimmer, and it makes a really great finishing. It's the throat, and so it makes a really nice finish. I was aligning that stuff in my hand to make it all the same length. And identical with this one, you're going to take your thread, I'm going to turn this upside down. I'm going to take my thread, fold it over that. I'm going to come in and make sure, see how it's stuck right in between there? Boom. And don't worry about the length of this stuff. Don't, just trim it all later. Nice and tight. Last one, this one shouldn't be much bigger than this one. It should be about the same size as that one right there. We've done enough progressing forward. But I am now looking for a little of that black in there. And I actually, on some of mine, I actually take just a little bit. That's not black. I like a little stripe down their back. You don't have to do this. It's really, and I don't put much in it. It's just a little extra black. When you stack this stuff, if you're doing it, remember that when you turn it over, it's going to be upside down from what you're looking at. So I didn't get much black in that last time. I come back here. So if you want that to show, it's got to be on the bottom. So when you flip it over, and remember, you can pick this out. So if you got a little bit too much or a little less, air heavy, so because you can always take it out. But make sure if you want it to end up on top that you put it, that it's on the bottom when you tie it in. So I'm going to fold it over. I want that black to be on the top now, so it was on the bottom when I folded that over. Pull it in tight. You see, now you can see, and I got a little heavy there. It's a little bit, not too bad. I like it. It's right about where I want it. So now we're going to come in here, and I'm just going to take this one I'm not going to dub, or not going to put in the loop. I'm just going to put a little bit of dubbing in here. We've got more than I need. I just want to have a little bit of, this is two-part. It's just a cool little finish, and it's also, I don't need that much. It also kind of packs that material back. Now we're just going to go right in here, right? Just let the thread roll right against your bead, and you won't trap anything. Because I can't see that, I always double this. And I'll tell you, there's another trick you can do if you're not certain about this. Dave Whitlock showed me this.
Don't forget your lavender.
Oh, I'm not done yet. Yeah, John, thank God Johnny's here. Don't forget the thing I was talking about. The lavender. Don't forget your lavender. All right. This you can overdo really quickly. So we're going to take, and you remember you're doubling this up, so you don't, this is an accent. It's hard, I don't know how to tell you how much to use here. But again, you can pick it out, fold it over, come in here and pull that down right into the eye of the hook, or into the bead of the hook. Just get it in there right dead center. See how I turned this up? And I'm going to cut this off in a second. But it's just that little lavender kick. Come in here, same amount on this side. You don't want a lot of this. You just want enough to see it, but not, it shouldn't just jump out at you. Bend it. You see how I've got it really tight now? I'm taking that in, and it kind of forms kind of forces it to stay in a small bundle. So back to what I was saying, Whitlock finished his flies with, he takes the zap and and this is a good place for it. I don't use it other than this. It's about the only time I do this. But, I don't know if you can see that. Come on. We're just going to put a couple little drops up and down this thread. There we go. That's all it takes. I mean, you can. I don't know if you can even see those drops on your thread. And then you just come in here and just turn it around until you don't see the glue anymore. Just pull it and set. It'll just set. I already did 6 whip finishes on it, and so it was fine. So now you come in here, everything should be where it belongs, and just kind of feather that back. Just let it cut. We're going to come back into about the length of the hook. Just feather it back. Just don't do a tight edge. Just let the scissors kind of rough that up. There, it's a nice point. Same thing on this side. Over here. Looks good. Now we're going to pull it. I'm going to do the bottom first. So just going to pull that over. And we're going to trim that so it goes back over the hook. It's just going to it's all going to marry into itself once we get it all trimmed out. So now you can see how I had the black on the top. It's a little bit of an accent stripe. You know, that dark back line on the actual minnow appears to be darker. So I'm going to come in here and I'm kind of long trimming. I'm not really cutting so much, right? And I just want to do it in steps. I don't want it to be all of a sudden like. It shouldn't be quite where, when it gets wet, it's gonna collapse a little bit. So don't take it to where you want to see it when it's wet. Leave a little bit extra, like that. And so when it gets wet, the water's going to collapse it down, and it's going to be about that much. And so you're going to get that perfect break between the material. But I'm going to leave it up where you can see it before it's wet. And so you can see how long it is. That might be just a hair long right there. But you'll see that little bit of lavender on the side. It's got you can like Johnny, we call Johnny the corrector because he's
right all the time.
Oh yeah, he's always right. He happened to be on this one. So we got this. You can see it ends right where it belongs. It's pointy. When this gets wet, it's going to settle down. But you know what you can see, I think you can see that. I don't know, maybe I put it behind here. I don't know if you can see how that layers in there. Can you see it?
Yeah,
Not really?
Not really.
Okay. Well, so much for that idea. But it's just kind of you'll see there's layers, there's air gaps between these. That's what you're looking for. When that thing gets wet, man, it's just unbelievable the way it looks. That is the Laser Legal. Showed you a couple things there. Hope that helps you out.